Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Our guest today has over 10 years of real estate experience, including overseeing management of more than $1 billion in real estate assets. In 2017, her company acquired over $200 million in multifamily real estate. Her expertise includes driving corporate growth strategy, asset management, and business development derived from working for multiple Fortune 500 companies. Her background includes acquisition, syndication, and growth strategy for multifamily assets. She is often a panelist and a speaker at various global conferences and radio shows. Veena Jetti is founding partner at Enzo Multifamily. Veena, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Much. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this interview. So to kick things off, do you want to tell us what your real estate goals are?
Yeah. So, So the reason that we do everything that we do is so that we don't have to work anymore one day. And I feel like that's everybody's basic end goal, is to have that lifestyle without having to trade time for money. Right. Yeah. So that's the goal for me, is to ultimately step away from actively being in real estate and just being able to passively collect a check. Now, I say that, but it's really hard once you start and you love what you do to step away from it. So my husband thinks I'll never stop working. And I, in my mind at least, will spend like 3 months out of the year doing a deal or two in retirement just for fun, because we love it. Yeah. But so ultimately the goal is to get to that completely passive lifestyle.
For sure. And what do the numbers look like for you to be able to achieve that goal? Like, do you have it down as like a set unit count or dollar volume?
I do. I have a net worth goal that we're going for. I usually don't put it out there that often, because when I do, people kind of go, wait, what? Why do you need that much?
No, put it out there. Go big, go big. Do it.
Oh, no. Okay, so my personal goal is to have 20 million.
Oh, perfect. That's good.
But I want to do that in the next 3 years.
Okay.
So I'm 32 right now. By the time I'm 35, I'd like to be at 20 million, because so this is why I think that, because I'm part of a lot of these like the financial independence, retire early communities.
Yeah.
And in those communities, it doesn't exactly fit with what I'm looking to do, because typically they want enough to pay the mortgage, pay taxes, your basic expenses. For me, if I'm retiring at 35, like, I want to go big or go home, so I want to increase my lifestyle in retirement and not decrease it. So that's why I have that goal. And I mean, I'm only 32. So realistically, I could work till I'm 50 or 60. It just depends what happens along the way. But that's kind of a goal I set. I mean, I remember when I was like 25, I was like, okay, I want to get to $1 million in net worth by the time I'm 30. And like, that seemed like such an unattainable goal at the time. And now I'm like, I think I can do this. If we continue down this path, I think we can do this. So just the goal we have. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's fine too.
No, I like that goal. If somebody gives you some hassles about having that $20 million goal, you should tell them to go away.
It's funny, because usually the people I get objections are from professionals. So my husband's a physician. And so in all of these physician groups, usually the physician is the highest earner in the household. It's rare that someone out earns a physician. And so most physicians are like, there's no way you can do that in medicine. I'm like, I totally agree. There isn't money in medicine. So I agree. We wouldn't be able to do that if it was just my husband working. But because I also have an avenue to create passive income and tax advantaged income, more importantly, we get to keep a lot more of our money, and we get to reinvest a lot more of our money.
For sure. So you've got a couple years, 3 years until the deadline for that goal. How far along are you right now?
I'm on track.
Awesome. That's great.
I'm on track. I will say that every now and then, with the way the market's been going recently, like, we've taken a little bit of a dip, but not so much, because we actually don't even invest into the market anymore. It's minimal. We'll buy gold and silver, and that's about it. Everything else goes straight into real estate. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. You should add an extra zero to your goal. 200 million? 200 million.
Oh gosh, no. I'm working this hard so I don't have to work ever again. It was I think it's that Warren Buffett quote that's like, entrepreneurs will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours for somebody else.
Yeah.
That's totally me. Like, I will never go back and work for somebody else at this point.
Yeah. It's so true though. We hammer so hard.
I know. It's really insane. And people don't see how much work goes into all of this, like it's just so much. So, but when you love it, it doesn't feel like a lot.
Oh, for sure. Like real estate to me doesn't feel like work, even though you're putting in the work. It feels like you're cheating the system because you don't have a job.
That's exactly right. And also when you're surrounded with other investors, everybody loves to talk about real estate when they're investing in real estate. So it just kind of consumes your whole life. And, I feel bad for people like my husband who are like, I don't even know what we own, like he doesn't care.
Yeah, for sure. So like you're on track for your goals, which is really good. Yes. Have you had some ideas of things that you thought for sure, this is something I'm going to try and it didn't really work out too well?
Yeah. New construction.
Okay.
I took a bath on a project early on and it was not fun. I probably would be a lot closer to my goal if I hadn't taken such a bath on it. What ended up happening is we had a little situation with a contractor, a GC, pretty standard for how this happens. And so we just could not continue the project forward. And the lag in time and kind of backtracking and trying to figure out what exactly happened kind of created a massive issue for us. And we had investors in the deal. And for us, especially me, because I'm on the capital raising side, investors being made whole is just like a non-negotiable for us. And I know, everyone puts out PPMs. Our PPM documents really protected us and covered us. But my partner and I actually paid out of pocket to not only make our investors whole, but we actually paid out the pro forma as well. So definitely took a bath on it, but we have moved on from that. We've really learned a lot from that. So now we are focused solely on multifamily. I don't like construction. I don't want to be involved in construction. And so that was one deal that kind of stands out as how things did not go well.
Gotcha. But you bring up such an important point where, just for your reputation and keeping those relationships, that the bath you took on the money and paying the investors back, like that's going to return to you, 10, 100 times over the long term, for sure.
Absolutely. Because all of those investors have invested into the next project with us. And, your investors are your lifeblood at the end of the day. If you can't raise capital, then you're kind of dead in the water, regardless of how good the deal is. But I think finding those great deals is kind of the bigger challenge, especially now for us, because we have such a massive database. We're overfunding everything we're doing right now. I'm sure you are too. I mean, everybody's overfunding everything. And so for us, we care more about putting our brand reputation at risk, like what that looks like and why we're willing to do it for certain projects. But yeah, that project was just something that was out of our control. We didn't know what we didn't know. We know what we didn't know now, but it's one of those things that we couldn't have planned for it, and it just shook out the way it did. But we made it through, and we're rebuilding.
Well, was it a subdivision development, or was it just a single building? What kind of project?
Yeah, it was actually a subdivision. So it was like a series of custom luxury single family homes. Yeah. So, and that's also a market you don't want to be in when the market starts going downward, because $1 million plus homes don't sell very quickly.
Yeah. And that's a big challenge on the development side, because your timeline for the project is so extended, like you're kind of sitting duck if the market shifts, right?
That's exactly right. So it's interesting because I think we didn't take as much of a bath as we would have on it, because my partner, Seth Ferguson, he's the one that does all of our underwriting and financial planning. And he modeled it so well up front that we had enough time to reverse, redo, and then get it exited, the project exited. So I think without proper underwriting, I don't know that we would have been able to make our investors whole. I mean, we had 7 figures of investment money into there from investors, and I don't know how we would have sustained much more than we actually did.
For sure. That's you dodged a bullet.
Seriously. Seriously, we did. And if that was, this was years ago, but if that was today, I don't know what we would have done, to be completely honest with you, with the way the market's shifting. I don't know how awful it would have been. I don't want to know either.
Yeah. Well, let's start talking about good deals. So we talked about bad deals. So is there one deal that really stands out for you that was a big winner or something that really skyrocketed, like put you forward in your goals?
Yeah. So actually, it's a deal we just closed in August 2018.
Okay.
And so it's a project in Jacksonville, Florida. It's 160 units, and it's a solid B asset in a great location.
Awesome.
We had already liked it going into the deal. We put it under contract, and then we find out that Wayfair is moving 1.5 million or 1 million square feet down the street from there in warehouse. And we're like, excellent, this gives us an even better tenant base. And then we have colleagues that we know through real estate investing who actually purchased the building across the street from us, which was really nice because I know their model and they're going to be pushing rents, and their asset is a little bit older, a little bit smaller with fewer amenities. So for me, that's great, because if they can push those, then that means I can justify even more in rent. And that asset, what I really like about it is, so our underwriting we typically outperform our pro forma, because obviously we're conservative just like everybody else. No one's going to come to you and be like, hey, this is really aggressive, but we think we can do it, right? So what ended up happening is we were pushing rents. We had underwritten for a $75 rent premium per door after renovation. And what we found was we were able to get 68 without renovating at all on several of the units. And that was during the down season or the off season. Yeah. So in December, we had 9 leases on a completely slow month. So that project, I think, is going to actually end up being like a really nice win. We went in thinking, okay, this is like a solid double. This is an asset we can hold through a downturn. The debt on it is awesome. And now I'm like, I think we're going to be hitting this one out of the park, because there's so many additional income streams we just didn't plan for. And we haven't had any, knock on wood, surprise expenses just yet. But we've planned for all of those. So I think that planning is really important going in, and kind of looking at the deal from multiple points of view and angles.
Yeah, no, for sure. That sounds like a great deal. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And actually Jacksonville, the reason I like that too is because Jacksonville is a growing market right now. And it's one of the markets we had targeted for 2 years or so. We liked those Florida markets. Mm-hmm. And we just could not find a deal that we wouldn't be grossly overpaying for. And so when this came across our desk, we closed it. It's awesome because it's kind of like planting the Enzo flag in Jacksonville. And now we're seeing all the off-market deals. So that's kind of the key, right? So your listeners, when you're getting started in a market, sometimes you have to just get one deal closed, and then you get the good stuff after that, because you need to have your track record and you need to prove that you guys are capable of actually closing the deals.
Yeah, for sure. So this one, you sourced this from a broker then, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was a CBRE deal. It was actually on market. But it was our first time working with the CBRE team in Florida, but they control about 70% of the market in Jacksonville. So that's great for us now. We have a great relationship with them. We're actually looking at doing another deal with them here in the next couple of months in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Were there any other competing offers for this one? Because it sounds like a really decent purchase.
Yeah, so there were actually a lot of competing offers for this one. We actually were not the highest offer. I want to say we were either the second or third offer. And someone had, I think, another 100 or 150,000 over us. We were ultimately awarded the deal because we had our interview with all of the sellers and brokers and our team. And so we did our buyer interview, and I think that they felt really comfortable with us, knowing what we could do and that we could perform. They called around, checked our references, told us they thought maybe we were paying our references because they gave us glowing reviews. So, it's always great to have those relationships and people that you can count on to help with, these types of reputational, these are the reputational standards no one really discusses, but it really made a difference. We ended up coming in. I want to say we were second in price, but I'm not sure. But the person or the group, two groups or one group ahead of us, they just didn't have any experience. The seller wasn't confident that they would actually be able to close it. So they chose us. So.
That's huge. And you mentioned this was your first deal in that market. Did you do anything in terms of building relationships with the brokers beforehand?
Yeah, so we had spent about 2 years looking at that market. And it wasn't by design that we waited 2 years to do anything in that market. It was literally a function of where the market was. So we would reach out to brokers, we would reach out to lenders, and we are constantly building relationships. And now we're at a point where we've kind of developed this preferred vendor list, so to speak. So, we have the lenders that we like to work with. We send deals to them. They know our cadence. They turn around quickly to us. We have our legal team. They get PSAs out the door within 24 to 48 hours. So we have our team, and we try to reuse the same team members. We have a title company that is amazing. So if anybody wants a recommendation, let me know, because they're awesome. They close all of our deals. And I think title is overlooked a lot when people are closing deals. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go into this tangent for a second.
Go for it. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So people overlook their title company. And what I really like about the title company we use is that my point of contact is actually an attorney as well. He's not just a closing officer or an escrow officer. So he's able to look at things from like a totally different angle, and he's able to interpret the documents in a different way than most closing agents can. And he's also responsive. Like, we work 24 hours a day pretty much right now. So I need someone who I can text at 8 p.m. and be like, hey, I need you to review this and get this out. Or on a Saturday, hey, I need to meet up with you to get something done. And he's more than willing to oblige. And it just makes it so much easier for us. And it's a trusted title company. And, we've had some interesting hiccups happen, at least in the single family market, not multifamily, thankfully, but in single family. And he's been able to creatively work around those with us and get those all resolved.
Oh, no, that's great. And you make a really important point with the title. Not many people bring that up. So I'm glad you did.
They don't, because no one thinks about it. But for us, that's such a crucial part of our team. So what I typically do when we're awarded a deal, we send a kickoff email. And that email goes out to all 4 of the Enzo partners. It goes to our title company contacts, our lender contacts, and our attorney contacts. And so that email puts everybody in touch and lets everybody know these are all the people you can talk to about our deal. You can disclose whatever information. We're all on the same side. And it makes for a much smoother process by doing it that way versus waiting for the one-off, right? Where title's like, hey, can you ask the broker the broker's also gone that email. And so they're not asking me like, hey, can you ask the broker for an updated survey or an updated title? They just talk to each other and I can stay out of it. So
that's a way better way of doing things. For sure.
Yeah. It's cut down the communication so much, or at least the communication responses needed from me. Now I'm just copied so I can see that things are moving.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been able to push rents without doing any big renovations. Are you planning for a refi at some point?
So not a refi. Yeah, not a refi. We have a Freddie Green product on that. So we're actually going to do a supplemental at some point. But this is another thing that I feel like people don't talk about is when you're looking at numbers and underwriting, we don't ever underwrite for the supplemental into our model. That is, and as you know, when you have a supplemental or a refi and you're pulling that equity out and returning it back to your investors, they're going to see a huge pop on the IRR because there's less equity at risk. So sometimes what you'll see is sponsors will underwrite and they'll show like 120% return in year 3. And you're like, what, like, how did you do this? What happened here? And they're like, oh, it's when we put the supplemental on. I'm like, well, what if there's not enough equity in year 3? Like, how can you know what you can put on there or not? So for the Enzo team, it has to work without the supplemental as well. But yes, generally we will.
Like you don't know what's going to happen in 3 years. So
I wish I did. I'd definitely be at 20 million by then if I knew.
For sure. I was talking with another investor the other day. He had a fire and 2 hurricanes happen, but when he was thinking about doing the refi, so that didn't happen.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
you can't advertise it because, it becomes an expectation.
Yep, that's exactly right. Under promise, over deliver. And so we never tell our investors we're definitely doing this. They know that that's all. Our plan is always to try to get principal back out as soon as possible, no matter what the project is or what the asset is. And obviously this is one way of doing it. And Freddie allows you to do multiple supplementals on their products. So Fannie, I think, only allows one. So it's a little bit different between Freddie and Fannie products.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, no, that's. I'm excited. Hopefully, I can have you back in a year, and you can tell us how that
yes.
deal's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, how this deal's going well? You've done a bunch of other deals, and you're well on your way to your $20 million goal.
Yes.
How has that and purchasing real estate really changed your financial situation?
Well, it's created passive income, first of all. So with that passive income, I don't actually take any of that out. We reinvest everything back into the market.
Yeah.
And so it's really helped. And then also the tax benefits. I'm married to a high income earner. So I remember our first year married, we paid like several $100,000 in taxes. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is before I went out on my own. I was working in corporate real estate. And there had to be a better way. And then now we're at a point we engage tax strategists who plan everything for us. They tell us exactly what we need to be buying, what we need to be doing through the year. And that has helped tremendously bring down our tax burden. So it allows us, again, to invest more assets. And at some point, I assume we'll start utilizing the 1031 exchange as well. So the ultimate goal is for the four Enzo partners to own a multifamily free and clear. And I say free and clear, meaning with agency debt on it. Yeah. And we just own that. And that's like our lifestyle income. And we just hold it for whatever, 1031 it and get into the next project. But we all have that same vision and that same goal. So it makes it really easy when everybody's aligned.
Yeah. You know what? I like your goal.
Thank you.
This was a good interview.
Yes. Yes, it's been very advantageous.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Veena, where can people find you if they're looking for some more information?
Yeah, so they can go to our website. It's enzomultifamily.com, E like Echo, and like Nancy, Z like Zebra, O like Oscar, multifamily.com. There's a button that says Retire in Luxury, and that's you can click that, and if you put your information in, someone from the team will reach out for you, usually me, but it might be another one of my partners, but one of the partners will definitely reach out.
Yeah, that's great. And just want to say thank you so much for doing this today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well in your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.